Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to another cosplay tutorial. Today I'm showing you how to make my version of Gambit's staff from X-Men. So I'm not going to explain anything at the beginning here. This video is already going to be a little bit long, so I'm just going to get right on into the build itself. Alright, so I have everything right here that you're going to need to build this staff other than the paint, which is just primer and paint. Oh, and sandpaper, but whatever. But you'll notice I have two things of glue here, two different kinds. So this is PVC glue. It's meant for PVC pipes, and it's like the water good stuff, like the water resistant stuff, where you use this for actual drainage, and you're supposed to use this stuff to put it together. However, mine is solidified inside, and the top is glued shut, so I can't use it. But the way you use these, if you want to get one of these, is you just screw the cap off, and it has the brush that hangs off of it, and it's a little dauber brush where it's like a little pom-pom at the end, and then you just dab it around whatever you're doing, put it all together, and call it good. Yeah, so like I said, I can't use mine because mine's solidified, and I'm not going to go buy more because I have Gorilla Glue, and this will work too. Just whatever you do, do not use the clear Gorilla Glue, because I learned the hard way on a project years ago, like 7 years ago. I was doing a project on this channel for Summoner Wars, and I was making wings out of the PVC pipe to make a frame, and I used regular Gorilla Glue and then ran out to put all the pieces together, and then used clear Gorilla Glue because that's all I had. Well, the clear one, every single piece of the clear, where I put the clear ones that were put together with clear Gorilla Glue, broke apart. It didn't work at all. It was like a silicone glue, like if you used hot glue, it did that. You don't use hot glue with smooth plastics and stuff. So, but this stuff, the regular Gorilla Glue, which foams up when it cures, every single piece with that worked perfectly, and it's still intact. So, yeah, don't use the clear one, use the regular one if you want to go this route. But this stuff is much better to use, so if you can get that, go ahead and get that. Which, if you're going to go buy PVC pipe, you just buy that stuff at the same store. I bought all of this at Lowe's, well, the PVC pipe, the Gorilla Glue, and the other glue, and then the connectors, and these carriage bolts, which I'll talk about in a little bit here. I bought all that at Lowe's, and you can probably find a ruler at Lowe's if you don't have one, but, oh, you probably can't see that. I have a ruler there, because we're going to need that. But and you can probably find Sharpies there if you don't have a Sharpie, but I assume you have a Sharpie. You don't really need the Sharpie, but if you, it's up to you. But anyway, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do here. So these pieces here, these PVC pipes, they're all the same size. I was originally going to do where it was like 4 pieces, where it was going to be 2 separate center pieces, so we could break apart at the center and just make it that easy. And then it was going to have 4 pieces, so it was going to be the 2 centers and the 2 ends. And the 2 ends were going to be bigger pieces. But I couldn't find couplers that went to the 2 sides as I wanted. These are 3/4 inch, and that's the inner diameter. And then I was going to get a 1 inch inner diameter, because that's the next size up, and it looks the best with both of them together. And it kind of reminds me of the staff that Aerith from Final Fantasy VII uses, and I liked that, so I wanted to kind of emulate that with my design, because my design's kind of its own thing, and it didn't work. I could not find couplers that did that. So you could also, if you really wanted to, use wooden dowels inside and just connect them together like this. You could just do that. I may do that as a secondary option for another one, just for a cleaner look, so I have two to play with. But it's whatever. But what I'm basically doing here is I'm putting the PVC pipe in the coupler and then putting it together like that. Bam, staff, done. But I'm doing that with 3 of them and 2 couplers. And so right now it is about, I want to say 6 feet 3 inches, somewhere around there, because these are 2 feet long, so that's 6 feet already. Plus, these don't go all the way to the center, so you're getting about an inch and a half of extra space there, so that adds about that much. and there's 2 of them, so that'd be about 2 to 3 inches. But you're probably wondering what these carriage bolts are for. So at the very tips, I want to be able to set this down. Now I can set it down. This is just a metal tip now. So I'm going to glue it in and stuff, but it'll set down, and it is the exact size I need to be exactly the right size of this pipe. So that's what I'm going to do with those. So basically it'll be carriage bolt, pipe, coupler, another coupler, another pipe, and another carriage bolt at the very end. And then that's going to be the entire staff. What I'm doing first, I'm going to save these until last. These are going in last because I need to paint it up and everything first. So what I'm going to do now is cut it down to the sizes that I need. And actually I left one thing out of the materials that was all up here that I actually need. That is a PVC pipe cutter. So this thingy. So it's basically a type of pliers that's a blade. Anyway, I've kind of already measured this one because I've done this video a couple times now trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. Where was I? So I want to put one end on this side. This is going to be my middle. I did want it about 3 hands wide, but I think I might want it wider than that now because that's a lot to cut off. Maybe I'll just cut it down to there. That's not too bad. That's about 4 hands wide. That should work. A hand is about 4 inches wide. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches there. So I could go here. That'd be, this right here would basically be 4 hands. So if I go a little bit, see, if I go a little bigger, I can always cut it down. So let me go to here and I'll cut it. I should have taken the lid off of this marker. And then I can do like that. And then I can figure out exactly where that mark is. No, get off of there. And then that's exactly 6 inches. How did I do that? All right. And then again, I put the cap back on, and then I can mark that all the way around. And when I cut it off, I can easily know exactly where I need to cut. Now these things, the cutter things that I have, don't cut straight for some reason, and I have no idea why. If someone does know why, please tell me, because it is annoying. So they cut at an angle for some reason. When you cut with these, no matter how straight on you are, they will cut at some weird, so if it's like this, it'll cut at some weird angle. And I don't know why. Oh God, this is hard. I haven't used these in a while, but I can start cutting through one side. Jesus, this is really hard. But if I start cutting through one side like that, and then I can flip it over a little bit and continue the cut, and then do that again, but I can follow these lines that I have on there that I just made. That'll tell me where my exact mark is that I need to cut. Yeah, you know what's cool? I don't think I have to glue that. That was a nightmare to get on. I don't think I have to glue that. Also, did I just make these even? How did I do that? There's little nubs on here. It's hard to see, but there's little nubs on here. And I think I just made those even. I might not even have to sand those off. But now I have, oops, I shouldn't do that. Now I have a center. Now let me put all this together and see how big it is, because that's going to tell me how much I need to cut off of the sides, which may not even need to be any. Okay, yeah, I need to cut off maybe a couple of inches, but right now, so this is still 2 feet all the way down into around the center of this. And then this one is however long I made that. And then the rest of it. And you know what? I might actually be able to just cut the middle one down again. If I can get it out. Oh God. Uh-oh. This is going to be annoying. I can't get them apart. I'm going to have to go downstairs and ask somebody to help me take them apart. That's the one thing I don't like about using PVC pipe couplers. Also, it will bend and wobble. Oh, that actually might help. It'll bend and wobble if you want to. You can put a dowel inside it. If you can get one that's close enough to the right size, the 3/4 inch, you might be able to just shove it in there and call it good. But you mainly want one that will run from here to here. That's not that big. So just through the middle and a little past the couplers, because these outer sides aren't going to bend nearly as much, and then the middle will bend. That's where it'll bend the most. But if I shorten this up enough, it won't. But I don't want it too short. But then that'll help it from bending at this area here, so it'll stop that from happening. But I can't get them apart. Okay, pro tip. These are actually my mom's. She's letting me borrow these. And she's gonna get me a pair for at the conventions when I have to do this again. So yeah, the couplers wouldn't come off. We had to have two people pulling on each side to get them apart in general, with this still on one end. We couldn't get that off. So these are like a pair of rubber gloves, but they're like a fire resistant kind, where my mom said one of them came with a rotisserie chicken thingy set where you can just grab the chicken off and it wouldn't burn you. And then the other ones I got at the dollar store. So you can find them at the dollar store. But I had to wear that and yank the thing off like that. So that may be a thing you need to do. So be warned. So I'm going to keep these up here until I'm done with this build so that I can not have that problem again. I am going to cut off a little bit more of this one. So this thing is about 4 inches taller than me. Now that I can take it apart, I can actually just cut off not enough and then see what happens. So let me cut off 4 inches, and that might make it as tall as me. I thought I was going to have to cut these pieces down, but why? Why would I need to do that if I don't have to? All right, so now it's about 3.5 hands big. You know what? Let me just hold the pieces together and see if that'll make things easier. You know what? I can get a dowel. Hold on. Okay, I don't have a dowel, but I have a metal pipe. That'll work for now anyway. You know what? I'm going to turn the camera. So there, now you can see that. So there's one of the big ends in, and then this end here, and then this end here, and I can see. Okay, that's shorter than me, so that's good. That's what I wanted. So I wanted it to be shorter than me just in case, because you never know with con rules. So now this actually, I could cut down to be like that. See how it's a little longer at the end there? I could do that to this side, and I could just use a hacksaw for that, which I have. There, it's behind me. Yeah, this is just getting stuck. This is soft enough, I think, that I could probably chop through it with one of these, but I only have two. I have a bigger one and a smaller one, and I really don't want to do that. Let me see if I have a dowel first and see what happens. Now, I can take the middle piece, and actually, I might be able to just glue that in, honestly. So this is a 3/4 inch dowel. And I think anyway, the weird thing though, yeah, 3/4 inch. The weird thing is, you'll notice I said that the inside of this was 3/4. So then, why does it do that, right? Never understood that. These are clearly not the same diameter, but they're both called 3/4. So I have no idea, but whatever. So I do need to add a little bit of tape to this to make it fit correctly. So I am just going to do that with blue tape for now. So I'll put that at the center. Just go down in a layer. No, I could have used way more than that. Do that a couple times so that it layers up enough to be snug in there. There we go. No more rattling. But I do want to add a little bit more. Oh yeah, there we go. Ugh. Definitely. Oh, I can't even do that. This side. Oh, that's tight. I don't even need to glue that. And then the little ends will go on, and then these ends will go in like that, and that'll stop the wobbliness from the center. The ends aren't going to wobble nearly as much, so I don't have to worry about that. But let me just like kind of halfway put it together where it's not super tight, so I don't have that problem again, and then see where it's at. So I don't know how you won't be able to see this. Here, let me that's how tall it is. It's about an inch smaller than me. That's roughly what I wanted. I'm going to add some tape on the ends of these, but I'm going to add better tape because that is going to get kind of messy every time I take them apart and stuff. So I want it to be taped. You know what? It actually might be a good idea to use this tape because then once it gets messy, I can remove it without any problems and then re-add more. So that might be a good idea. So let me do that. All right, time for glue. So, like I said, I'm just using this Gorilla Glue here. So, what I'm going to do is glue on the inside. However, I forgot I should totally sand this stuff, this PVC. So, this is 220. Yeah, 220 grit. Sand the inside of that and sand around the outside of this a little bit. And you know what? I have to sand this pipe anyway, so I might as well just do that. Oh, sweet. This is getting the markings off. So the good thing about PVC pipe is it's normally really shiny and glossy. You can figure out if part of it's sanded by just looking at the light on it and seeing, like right here, I can see a lot more light hitting this section right here. And then I feel it, and it's a smooth section. So I know I can just sand it so it's not smooth anymore. So what I'm doing here, if it cooperates, I have more than enough here. Come on. There we go. Putting some glue inside the coupler here. I need quite a bit, but not a whole lot. But a glob on the entire thing. I don't know how well you can see it. And then carefully, that was not careful at all, go through here and get that on as tight as I can. So, and then I have the nub there, right there. So now I know that when I do this side, just make sure that nub's on that same side and I'll be good to go. I got some glue on here, so I need to wipe that off too, because I definitely do not want a layer of glue on the tape here, because I don't want that to foam up and make it harder to put that on. So I'm gonna do the same thing for this other side. Also, no, you do not need a respirator for this kind of glue. This is a silicone type glue, and anything you can smell isn't going to harm you. There's no like toxic chemicals that are going to go up into your nose and into your lungs and kill you like how contact cement does. So you don't have to worry about that. There we are. Also, I didn't think about this. The Gorilla Glue having a little tiny layer on here might make that tape stay a little better. Without destroying. That might be a good thing. I'm not done painting it just yet. I'm almost there. But I wanted to show you real quick. I did do the silver on here so far, and you can see it looks really cool, right? Like that's a really good silver. However, here, let me figure out good. I don't want this to get messed up because I have to clear coat that still. But the problem is with the clear coat. So you can see it's like a really nice silver, right? Well, when you put clear coat on it, oops, this happens. It is no longer a nice silver. It is a dull silver. So there we go. You can see the difference. It's a pretty big difference. So it looks a lot more gray. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm going to tell you why it does this, but yeah, there's nothing I can do about it. Well, there is, but nothing I'm going to do about it. So the brilliant looking nice silver is just the paint alone. But metallic paint it has a lot of solvents, or there's a lot of stuff that's a solvent for that ruins it. And all of them are in spray clear coat. So that's why this happens. So what you need is a brush on clear coat, which I don't have and don't have a way to go get. I'm not getting anything off of Amazon because I don't want those liquids coming, that can always get messed up in the mail, and I don't want that. I would rather buy it at a store, but I don't have a way to get to Michael's Craft, which is the next closest store, since the city I live in has nothing. There is literally nothing anywhere in this city that has anything that would work. What you want is there's 3 ingredients that ruin this, which are acetone, toluene, and I think that's how it's pronounced, and xylene. And xylene is with an X. I'll spell everything out. But all 3 of these ingredients will do this. And that's in every single spray ingredient. And acetone is basically what makes it sprayable in that mist form that you get in a spray. And that is the #1 thing. That's like literally paint solvent. So that will ruin everything basically that's supposed to be shiny. So you don't want to do that. After that, I just need to, like I said, clear coat this one so it matches the rest. And then I'm going to glue in the carriage bolts. And then that's it. All right, so I tried putting one of the bolts in the bottom of this, like Gorilla Gluing it and stuff, but that didn't work. So I'm going to try something else. Not only was that adding way too much weight, but that was not staying. The bolt is way too heavy for it to stay in place while it's gluing, and there was nothing else I could do. And if I put like some kind of insert in there, it wasn't going to stay. So I had to come up with another idea. This is my other idea. So this is not what I'm using, but this is a plastic bobbin for a sewing machine. It just happens to be the exact size that I need to plug the hole of the pipe. So I don't have a cutter this size, it's something that I can cut this size of a circle out, but whatever. I'll just trace and cut this out. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll work. It just has to plug the inside. And I'm using black because I only have black and white. I don't have gray or silver. They do make gray foam like this in different shades of gray. I just don't have it. So you could get that if you wanted. Because the clear coat did make the plastic look more gray than silver, but it's not a big deal. I don't really care. I do need to cut this out just a tad bit bigger than the marking, than the inside of the marking there, because the inside of the marking is obviously the size of this. It's just barely the size, and I want it to be a snug fit, so I got to cut it a little bit bigger. And this is not cutting all the way through because there's a table blocking me. So when I'm done sawing through it like this, I have to go back through and do that. So it's a little bit of a process here, but when I'm done, I will have this. It's a round piece. So this will go inside there like that. Probably hard to see, so it'll go like that. And then that, I can't put that in yet, so I have to get back out. I'm going to be putting that in there and then putting a washer on top of that. So it'll, come on, the washer will be on the end like that. The washer is not the size of the pipe, which sucks, but if I had any other color in there, the only other color, like I said, I have is white for foam. You would see white in there. I'd rather you just see this black. So I'm not even going to paint this. I'm just going to leave this as is with the washer over it. If you can get a washer that's, I got glue on my hand. If you can find a washer that has a smaller hole, do that. Or gray foam to cover that hole. The washer is basically just so I can set it down without chipping the paint. That's the whole reason for it. So what I'm going to do is squeeze some hot glue in here and then plug this in there. Just like that. And now that has a string of hot glue on it, but that is plugged now, and it's not going to come out. Well, it will, but I have to let the glue dry. and then it won't come out. You can still rip it out if you really tried, but once I epoxy this thing on, you're not going to be able to pull that out at all. So now that this is plugged, I have to do this to the other one. However, I ran into a problem. I put these all together with it all painted and stuff. Didn't sand any of the paint off of the ends. You can kind of see it on here if it ever focuses. Here, I got a better idea. Manual focus, there we go. So you can see it's damaged on the end there. This is where it touches the coupler. So yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Luckily that'll be hidden when it's as in the coupler as it's going to get. I will sand a little bit off of here so I can get it in there. But I didn't do it to the other one of these pieces, the ends, and it's stuck now. And no matter how hard I try with any other person pulling on the other side, we cannot get it undone. So if I can get that undone, that'll be nice, but if not, there's nothing I can do about it. But anyway, I'm gonna do this to the other end, but I can't do that on camera because it's too large now, because it's both pieces. It's the center and the other end. So I can't put that on camera. It's way too big. So yeah, I'm just gonna go do this to that one, and then I actually need to buy epoxy. So this might be a couple days for me, a couple seconds for you, but I need to buy some epoxy to put this on the end. So that's the last thing. And actually, I wonder if hot glue would be enough. I don't know if it would. I don't know if I want to test that, because that could still just rip off, and that could rip the foam, and I don't know if I want to do that. Oh, look, it's pretty sturdy in there now. Cool. That ain't going nowhere. All right. I'm going to do that, like I said, to the other one, get some epoxy, and then epoxy this on. So what you want to use for this, though, is, since this is metal, you're going to want JB Weld epoxy. I'll show you that when I get to it. All right, so as you can see, I have both now. I was able to get the other side off, which is this one, and it just so happens I'm able to tell which one goes in which side, because this side is way more damaged now on the bottom, and that will fit inside one of the couplers, and then this side that isn't as damaged as much fits in the other coupler, but one of them is lopsided on the centerpiece because of how the dowel went in and glued, so I have to kind of force it to work. So I can see which side that is, and I know that side is this less damaged one, and the other side is this more damaged one where I had to force it out, and I was able to twist off some of the paint there to make it so it fits a little better. So there's that. It also doesn't fit all the way down like I was hoping it would, so where it would go like way down inside, it doesn't do that anymore. It only goes down about that much, so nothing I can do about that. But anyway, I now have the glue that I need, so I went out and bought that. And I said, screw it, while I was there, buy some more washers. These are a different washer. They're the same size of washer, so you can see these are both the same size, but actually, it's a little tiny, it's like a millimeter bigger. So never mind, it's a millimeter bigger, or so. And it has a smaller hole, so I don't know how well you can see that, but it has a smaller hole. So that's gonna look better, because this will show that black foam, and this won't show that very well. So that's good. And then this is the glue that I was talking about. This is JB Weld Quick Weld epoxy. Well, it's not really epoxy. I don't know what this stuff is, but oh, it is epoxy. So it says epoxy on there. So what you do with this stuff is it comes with on the box it literally says mixing tray. It's really hard to see, but it says mixing tray. So you mix right here. So what you do is, I'm gonna actually say before I do this, get a respirator and use a respirator for this, because this stuff stinks. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it where I can't talk to the camera because you won't be able to hear me with the respirator on. So I'm going to tell you how to use this stuff, and while I'm doing that, I'll show you the B-roll of me doing it. So you twist the cap off. It has the two syringes, and then when you press when you press the syringe down, it'll put both of them down at the same time, and then you take your mixing thing and you mix it up until it's a single color. So it'll be two different colors. You mix it up until it's one color, and then once it's one color, you will put it on both the backside of the washer and then the backside, or not the backside, the top of the PVC pipe piece where I'm going to put it. And you're going to want to be really careful, because this stuff is annoying to get off of other things like your clothing. So be careful about that. You can wear gloves if you want, but you can get it off your hands pretty easily if you have stuff like Goo Gone or other stuff like that, or or nail polish remover will take it off pretty easily. You don't have to worry about that. And it won't hurt your skin. It is not toxic to your skin. So don't worry about that. But also one thing you're going to want to remember is to sand or mark up both sides of the things. Like, so the back side of the washer and the top of the PVC pipe area. So that'll give it extra area that, you know, it's like it's extra teeth that it cuts into that the glue can stick to, and that'll hold it on a lot better. So you're going to want to do that. But anyway, yeah, you've probably already been watching me do this, so let's move on. All right, so here it is together. And so I did turn the camera off, took my respirator off, and then, yeah, so it's only been like 30 seconds since I put it on, or like a minute. So, but after about 5 minutes, this still isn't going to move anywhere. But if you notice, it's sticky enough that it's not moving as soon as I put it on there. So, yeah, it holds in place. It holds in place really well. So yeah, that's it. There's nothing else really. So this end is basically, that makes it so that I can set it down on the ground without hurting any paint. Once this stuff dries, it'll dry basically rock hard and not come off anymore. But yeah, it should take about 5 minutes to be workable, where you can like do stuff to it, and 6 minutes. It says 6 minutes on it. So until it's pretty much workable to be where you can do other things if you were doing other things, even though this is the last step. But if you were doing other things on another project, you could continue after about 6 minutes. And after about an hour or so, it's completely cured. So I usually give this 24 hours just to be on the safe side. So if you want to do that, do that. But that is literally the last thing and the end of the video. So we're going to go back to me looking on camera and stuff. All right, so that is how I made my version of Gambit's staff. There's also many different things you could do. You could add more details, like the lines that go in it. You could do that however you like. You don't even need the couplers. If you really wanted to, you could just put the two pieces together. That's a thing you can do. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do that. So if you want to, I will link down in the description a video from Odin Makes, where he shows you how to make PVC pipe connect without a connector, where he uses paint roller handles and you can screw them together. So that's an option too. And if you don't want it to be breaking down, like able to break down like this, if you want to just be a big pole, like let's say you have a giant truck that you bring everything in, I don't know, or let's say that I don't know, your car is fine enough that you don't mind this hanging over all the seats and stuff. If that's up to you, that's up to you. But if you are cool with that, just get one long PVC pipe or even one long dowel and just put all the details onto that and call it good. That would be the most accurate. But whatever you do, if you're bringing it to a con, make sure it's con safe and don't use metal. That's pretty much it. But anyway, that is going to be it for this video. So if you like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later.